A pleasant good morning, everybody, and welcome to Breakfast with the Scots. I'm Brian Sutcliffe here with Miles Dunklin, and your eyes are not deceiving you. It's about 9 a.m., and it's time for Highland Park Scots varsity basketball. It's the third of three preliminary round games as the Highland Park Scots will battle the Runnin' Maroons of Stephen F. Austin High School in the final prelim game of the 49th annual Plains Capital Bank HP Scott Classic. The Scots are in must-win territory, having split their first two tournament games, losing to Midlothian on Thursday before following it up with a nice win over Lake Highlands in matinee play yesterday. And Miles, if the Scots want to advance to the championship round tonight, where they would like to have a chance to defend their tournament championship, they had a must-win yesterday that they played great in. They'll need to win another one today.
Yeah, and this SFA team should be a lot stronger than what they've seen the last three games. But they played a lot better in their third of their three games, their early three games this season. Yesterday against Lake Highlands, they closed that second quarter with a 19-point run. The second quarter, they dominated 24-2, and that led to a 36-11 half. And certainly Coach Peeler much more pleased with the effort, the intensity, and finally the execution in that game rather than their first two.
You had 9 players score in the game. You had 3 in double figures. Clayton Murtha, the big 6'5 junior, had 12 points. Matthew Kreitz with his best game as a varsity player. He had 12. He's scoring 10 points a game in his last 2. And Chase Fletcher once again led the way for the Scotties with 15 points. He's averaging over 17 per game in his first 3. So the Scots will take on a Stephen F. Austin team that's 2-1 on the season. They're coached by Andy Dudney. This is a rivalry that's extended now 8 consecutive games. The Scots defeated Austin High in the Scott Classic final last year, 75-51. It's the 8th consecutive year these teams have played. The Scots are 5-2 in their last 7 against Stephen F. Austin. It was a very close game at halftime. Scots led 37-36 last season and then ran the Runnin' Maroons off the floor in the second half to a 38-21 clip as the Scots won the 2011 version of this tournament, as the teams were fortunately able to roll out of the bag this morning.
Yeah, I think it was pretty. I know it was tough for me to get up here this early on a Saturday morning. I'm not too familiar with 8 a.m. on Saturday, but I had to reacclimate myself with it today. But
those days will come for you, my friend.
These two teams, they both had to get up early, obviously. And for Stephen F. Austin, they had to travel, so it's still I think advantage Highland Park in that regard.
We welcome you into the booth. I'm Brian Sutcliffe. To my right, Mr. Miles Dunklin. Bright and early, rise and shine, sleepyheads. It's time for Scots basketball. It's the Scots and the Stephen F. Austin Runnin' Maroons. The Scots, with a victory and a Midlothian loss in a game taking place on the other gym floor right now, would gain a spot in the Scott Classic final. That's the only way they can guarantee a spot. It's very likely you could end up, if the Scots win this one, with a 3-way tie, as we'll walk you through some of the scenarios as we go through the broadcast. But right now, we'll go down to the public address announcer for the introduction of the starting lineups. Starting lineup for Coach Andy Dudney's Runnin' Maroons at guard. Number 3, Jeremy Mantia is a 6'3 junior. Dorian Parks, number 5, a 6'3 senior. Number 11, Lado Dogale, a 6'1 junior. And number 14, Matt Jones, a 5'11 junior. The postman, 6'7" senior. Number 32, Cole Carper. The Highland Park Scots are 2-1 this season. It's the 200th game as Highland Park Scots coach. For David Peeler, he is 156-43. As Matthew Kreitz, who's wearing number 24 in this game, scores quickly and is fouled off the opening tip.
Yeah, give the hockey assist to Fletcher, who won the tip. And then Murtha with a nice pass.
Number 2, Chase Fletcher starts at wing. The 6'7 senior. Matthew Kreitz, number 24, a 6'3 junior. Number 50, Clayton Murtha, a 6'5 junior, plays post. Number 3, Matt Fraschilla runs the point. He's a 5'10 senior. And at off guard, number 11, Jake Stegenga,
yeah, he's
a 5'10
25
junior.
today.
That's his number from last year.
Good start for Kreitz as he clears the defensive glass and scoring already for Kreitz is pretty much a bonus for this team.
As we editorialize for a moment from a broadcast perspective, you know, we get out here early in the morning and then we start getting new numbers. I'm not sure that's quite fair as Kreitz missed from outside, but nice rebound for Stiganga. So nice pep from the Scots on an early morning tip. Fletcher
Nice
gets the
head
defender
fake.
in the air.
See, that just speaks to his ability right there to be able to pump at the three-point line and get a reaction out of the defender, considering he's 6'7".
Jake had his
Blocked.
shot blocked by Lado Dogale. Matt Jones will rotate it onto the left side for Dorian Parks. Shot from the outside, very short. Jeremy Mantilla missed the shot. Dorian Parks got the rebound, but he threw it right to Matt Fraschilla. Fraschilla coming the other way in transition. Chase will take it up with the left hand, and he's fouled. 6:48 left in the first quarter. Scotty's lead 3-0.
That was excellent spacing on the break that time as Murtha cleared the way. Fraschilla did a really nice job of selling it like he was looking for Murtha and all the way looking for Chase on the back door.
Fletcher has his first point, averaging 17.3 points per game. He scored 21 points against the Maroons in the Scott Classic Championship last season. That was his second highest point total of the year.
Well, Chase can fill it up in a lot of different ways.
Goes 1 for 2. We're a minute 15 in. Scots have an early 4-0 lead. The Maroons lost their season opener earlier this week to Austin LBJ 57-56. They followed that up with a 15-point win, 61-46 over Lake Highlands in the first game of the Plains Capital Bank Scott Classic as Jeremy Mantilla hits from outside.
And that was set up by the penetration as the Scots were in a little bit of a matchup zone right there, or a matchup man-to-man.
60-50 was the score as Austin High defeated Ennis last night. Left corner three ball, Fraschilla caroms in.
It was a great pass by Stiganga and a great screen set by Chase Fletcher to let that play develop.
6-3, Scots lead by 3. Tough drive into the lane by Cole Carper. He lost the handle. It goes to the Scotties.
Yeah, we'll see which team has some more energy, early in this game. Obviously, these guys, this is usually first period for them, not used to getting the body going quite this early,
Well,
especially on a Saturday.
Austin High played in the night game last night. The Scots did have a bit of a benefit in playing at 4:30 local time. Pump it into Chase Fletcher. Splits the double team and one.
It's pretty tic-tac call there, but a great job nonetheless by Chase to be able to score that one. And doing a great job early on of using that head fake. Austin High had 2 guys go for it, and an easy lay-in for the big man.
Coach Andy Dudney, who we've dealt with a few times coming into this tournament, a real good guy, takes a timeout with 5:41 left. Scots lead by 5 early, 8-3. We'll remind you that Plains Capital Bank is a proud sponsor of the Highland Park Scots Classic. For over 25 years, Plains Capital Bank has used their financial strength and stability to help individuals and businesses in our communities grow and prosper. Plains Capital Bank, the title sponsor of the 49th annual HP Scott Classic. I'm Brian Sutcliffe as the teams come back onto the floor along with Miles Dunklin. 5:41 left in the opening quarter, 8-3 Scots. HP averaging 50.7 points per game through 3 contests. They're allowing 47.3. So we talked a bit in the pregame before the game against Lake Highlands yesterday, Miles, that the defense was looking at David Peeler levels. Offense finding its way and had their best game of the year yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's going to take time for that offensive continuity to happen. They have so many more moving parts this year. The bigger rotation, definitely a deeper team, and they're just going to look to be more familiar with each other as the year goes on. Who likes to get the ball where, who likes to score from what part of the court. And as the year goes along, the offensive efficiency will be much more crisp.
Carper missed the left corner 3. Rebound was taken by Chase Fletcher. Here comes Stiganga and the Scots. Drew contact as he drove into the lane, was looking to kick it to the outside, but the whistle stops play. It'll be Lado Dogale's first personal. That's 4 team fouls against the running Maroons. Dogale will leave.
Murtha blew the lane. It was a late foul call, and that's the 5th on SFA. But that inbound play has been working like a charm so far.
Number 22, Winzel Sterling, a 6'2 junior, checked in to replace Dogale.
Murtha was just a beast yesterday. Had a couple of and-ones on a pair of putbacks. And he is really going to be a monster by the time his career is all said and done.
Clayton Murtha, the junior, scored about 1.5 points per game last year, but he's at a 6.7 average through 3 games this year. He's got his first point as the Scots lead by 7, 10-3. Approaching the 5-minute mark remaining in the first quarter. Nice steal by Matt Kreitz. Kreitz with a 1-on-3. Tries to go behind the back, but he loses the handle as Carper comes away with it.
Yeah, probably would have been better suited to pull that one up. Regardless, a nice defensive play.
Sterling, the open 3, missed it. Another rebound for Chase Fletcher. Stiganga ahead to Fraschilla. Overhand pass inside to Murtha. Chase Fletcher, little sidestep there to get away from the pressure, and he scores his 5th and 6th points of the first quarter.
Yeah, that was all about the pushing the ball up the court early. They were able to get a numbers advantage, and then Chase with a nice finish as the defender was set up to draw a charge, and he sidestepped it.
That was a pretty move, and one. Dorian Parks with his first 2 points of the game.
That's a tough call. It looked like Stiganga was pretty well set right there, but hey, with the fouls on the board, 5-0, you got to expect at some point it's going to even out a little bit.
It's Jake Stiganga's first. That's the first team foul against Highland Park. It's Fraschilla, Stiganga, Murtha, Kreitz, and Fletcher on the floor for the Scots as HP has yet to substitute.
And Kreitz, I think, has played really well so far with his starting group. When I was in high school, way back when, his older brother played varsity basketball here at Highland Park, so a great tradition in the Kreitz family.
Little jump stop, pretty dish. Fraschilla to Murtha for 2.
Yeah, that's just a pretty simple pick and roll right there, like you see executed in the NBA game all the time, and Matt doing a nice job with the assist.
Scots leaded by 8, 14-6. Straight on 2. Pretty stroke there by Jeremy Mantilla.
That was a good screen set and good shot. But Brian, the offense very crisp again here early for the Scotties.
Little high-low knocked away by Dorian Parks. The Scots will have to inbound it from near the corner. Number 20, Kendrick Price, a 6'1 junior, checks in for Coach Dudney's Maroons. As looks like Austin will go with a little bit shorter lineup as Coach Dudney has to pull Lotto Dogale off the floor. In quickly, little jump hook, won't find the bottom of the cup. It's a loose ball foul against Highland Park. It'll go to the Maroons. 14-8, Scots with the lead. 3:38 remaining in the first quarter.
It was actually a jump ball forced by Murtha. A possession arrow to Stephen F. Austin.
Good eye, my man. Mantilla nearly lost the handle. Dorian Parks will take it in. Little jump stop. Nearly lost the handle. Able to get a shot off. And Chase Fletcher with another first quarter rebound.
Yeah, it was Stiganga that stripped it on the way up and caused that to miss.
Long left wing 3. Fraschilla left it a little short. Offensive rebound, and that's been so key. One of the areas for improvement after the first couple of games was rebounding, and the Scots have been doing a nice job on the glass in this one.
Yeah, Chase has been dominating as the Scots come out in a 2-3 zone look here.
Chase with 8 first quarter points. The Scots lead it by 8, 16-8.
And that's exactly where you want the ball to go against that zone.
Jones got Fletcher in the air, and he'll take it up for a pretty 2 points.
Yeah, Chase had to close out that time. It's a good pump fake. 18
points. The best first quarter the Scots have had. That was in the Midlothian game that they ended up losing. 24 is the best in any quarter this year. That was the big 24-2 blitz against Lake Highlands yesterday. That was a nice pass from the wing. In tough. Chase Fletcher's into double figures. He's got 10.
Yeah, I don't know how he caught that ball after he initially fumbled it. He's got great hands in addition to all his other skill set.
The efficiency on offense has been outstanding for the Scots so far as the 3 balls hit by Mantilla. He's got 8 first quarter points on a couple of triples. There's a timeout on the floor with 2:09 left in the first quarter. The Scots lead the Austin High Running Maroons in an exciting game, 18-13.
Yeah, I think Coach Spieler's going to say, hey, guard number 3, let's not let him get that wide open on the outside. But that was just a zone beater. So they're playing a 2-3, and the weakness of the 2-3 zone is perimeter shooting. And they're able to get good rotation on the outside and get a wide open shot against that zone.
You'll see some folks in the yellow shirts with the mops in this one. That's the Altshuler and Company Scott's Mop Crew. Altshuler and Company is a real estate advisory services firm that features big ideas and flawless execution. Altshuler and Company, proud sponsors of the Scott's Mop Crew. 2:09 left in the first. Scott's by 5, 18-13.
Coach Bueller definitely pleased with the offensive execution, maybe not so much on the defensive end, as he will sub Will Miller into the game, as well as
Ben Livingston, number 13, a 6'1 senior, and Miller, the 6'5 senior, is number 20.
So it'll be Stiganga and Kreitz that take a seat.
Murtha, Fletcher, and Fraschilla remain in the game.
Dangerous cross-court pass.
Was deflected by Mantilla out of bounds.
And the Scouts were fortunate with the result of that pass.
Fraschilla fakes the dish out to the wing. Was tapped up. HP fights for it. There's
Great
Chase.
hustle by
Great
Fletcher.
leadership going down to the floor. Over to Fraschilla. His shot was blocked from behind by Dorian Parks. HP has another look at it. Chase ends up with it. He leaves it short. Another offensive rebound and earns a trip to the line. One of the toughest offensive possessions we've seen from the Scotties this season.
Is Fletcher working hard or what? He has earned every one of those 10 points that he's got here early on. Just outstanding hustle, first going to the ground, then working hard for a couple rebounds. You love to see a guy dive on the floor like that, especially this early in the morning. Just gotta love the effort from Chase as he'll sub out after he makes this, if he makes this next free throw.
Number 32, Matt Wilson. Good to see Matt back in, the senior captain, 6'4". Went down with an apparent knee injury yesterday, but he seems to be none the worse for wear.
Yeah,
Chase Fletcher leaves with 12 first quarter points.
Yeah, what an outstanding effort by Chase. But you said it, that was a scary moment yesterday for Matt. I had baseball season flash before my eyes. He, of course, signed on Thursday with Oklahoma State as a left-handed pitcher.
Number 4, Mitchell Kaufman, the 6'3 sophomore, in for his first action today. Scots lead by 7, 20-13.
Once again, the Scots in a man-to-man look, trying to take away that perimeter shooting.
Kendrick Price gets caught on the baseline. He finds Tim Wright, number 34, is in the game for the first time. Fires it back to Wright. Winzel Sterling goes to the crossover. Nice move into the lane. Kicks it over to Mantilla. Left corner 3 ball off the mark. Tim Wright got the rebound. Straight on long to Dorian Parks. He missed it. And the Scots come away with the basketball. Headman pass. Nice grab. Mitchell Kaufman, but he tries to find Will Miller. Led him a little bit too much. The Scots turn it over, leading by 7 with 46 seconds left.
You can tell the Scots really want to push the ball, especially Fraschilla. But that was a good defensive possession that last time. They weren't able to close it out initially with a defensive board, but they were eventually able to get one.
3 ball missed by Kendrick Price. Livingston has a rebound, but it's taken away. Winzel Sterling comes away with it. It's a 4-on-2. Nice dish. Over to Dorian Parks for the chippy.
Turnovers in transition will kill you. Great screen that time set by.
It was a good jump stop. Matt Wilson couldn't hit it. Mitchell Kaufman puts it up. Scott's a little cold on the offensive end the last few possessions. They've led by as many as 9. Their advantage is currently 5 with 10 seconds left in the first, 20-15. Sterling nearly lost the handle. Guarded by Will Miller. Here's Kendrick Price with 2 seconds. Mantilla. He'll throw it up with the right hand. And it nearly fell. But the Scots will go to the second, leading the Austin High Running Maroons 20-15. So a bit of a surge there in the last part of the first quarter for Austin High.
Yeah, Fletcher left the game, and a little bit of a lapse on the offensive end. In a way, he can kind of be their crutch offensively. Ultimately, you can get it to Chase, and something good will happen. He had an outstanding quarter with 12 in the period.
As the Altshuler and Company Scott's Mop Crew get the floor ready for the second quarter. Chase Fletcher had 22 against TCA last Monday. Followed that up with 15 points apiece against Midlothian and Lake Highlands. Well, he's on pace to shatter those marks with 12 first quarter points.
And on pace for 48. There's some quick math for you.
Dude, that's solid. This early on a Saturday.
I try.
Brian Sutcliffe, Miles Dunklin, glad you've joined us this morning. The Scots hoping to advance to the championship round, which will be played tonight at 6:30. A win here would guarantee the Scots at least a place in the third place game. If HP plays in that one, it would tip at 2. We'll have either game for you. The Scots have now led after 1 in all 4 games this year.
The same lineup here for Coach Peeler. You'd think, one of these kind of games they'd be happy to kind of empty out the bench early on, but right now he likes what he sees.
Pass intended for the diving Mitchell Kaufman.
And that was a set play coming out of the timeout. Weren't able to execute it.
Kaufman nearly forces the steal, took it away from Jeremy Mantilla, but Austin High will have another look. The Maroons averaging 59 points per game. They're allowing 51 per contest. A little bit of contact, no call. Goes crossover, past Kaufman, and there's a block. Down on the baseline, it'll be Mitchell Kaufman's first. Just the second team foul against Highland Park. Matt Jones over to the corner for Mantilla. Catch and release 3. Rimmed out. Matt Wilson gets the rebound. Nearly has it taken away by Dorian Parks, but here come the Scots.
And you can see how much Frischella likes to push the ball. Very comfortable in transition.
Nice pass, Matt Wilson to Mitchell Kaufman. Kaufman is fouled. Good eyes there by Matt Wilson to find Kaufman cutting to the basket. He was wide open. Good pitch from Wilson to Kaufman. Earns a trip to the line.
Yeah, Matt's an outstanding team player. Talking to Coach Cunningham last year, raved about his work ethic and his competitiveness, and he's always in the right spot, a very coachable guy.
Mitchell Kaufman looking to score his first point as a varsity player, just a sophomore. 20-15. The Scots are in the bonus for the rest of the half. It has 7:14 left in the second.
Yeah, he's a lot bigger than he looks. Kaufman at 6'3", also a very nice frame. And talking to Coach Peeler, they think they remind him a lot of Joey Landis, a former Scott great.
Cole Carper back into the game. He goes one-on-one with Matt Wilson. Now it's Sterling. Sterling with another crossover. Here's Dorian Parks. Out to Matt Jones, left wing 3. A little too hefty.
Good contest by Matt.
Livingston and Kaufman both had a chance at the rebound, but it's deflected out of bounds. Austin High with another look.
Yeah, good defensive possession, but it's not ultimately done until you can seal the deal with a rebound.
Nice strip by Ben Livingston. Frischella goes to the floor, but Austin High with yet another chance. Dogale from the right wing hits.
Yeah, Scott's had a couple guys dive on the floor, and they just were not able to recover. But good job by SFA to find the open man.
The Scots led this one 12-3, but it's now just a 3-point lead, 21-18.
Kaufman just lost it.
And then he fouls Wenzel Sterling.
I think we got about to see Chase Fletcher reinserted into the game.
Along with Matt Kreitz and Jake Stegenga.
And Frischella will get his first breather.
So you've got Wilson, Kreitz, Fletcher, Stegenga, and Livingston on the floor for David Peeler Scots. Coach Peeler in his 200th game as Highland Park Scots coach. What a tenure it's been for Coach Peeler.
I remember when they hired him.
Replaced Kenny Hoffpower. Carper, the southpaw, shoots the long 2. He didn't get it. Matt Kreitz makes an impact immediately off the bench with a rebound. Livingston thought about the left side 3.
And not only did he get the rebound, but he was able to advance it up the floor. One-man fast break.
Livingston, open 3. Got it!
Yeah, he was ready to shoot that for a couple seconds, and a really nice find by Stegenga. Found him right in the shooting pocket.
Second 3 of the morning for the Scots. Their lead is back to 6, 24-18.
And for what it's worth, they were shooting very well in pregame warmups.
Offensive foul. Livingston hits the 3 ball and then draws the charge. Coach Peeler, what a time it's been here in his 7th season as Scots coach. In his first 6 seasons, here are your win totals. 30, 31, 25, 17, 22, and 28. Bump it inside to Fletcher. The Scots turn it over with 5:22 left. Six-point lead.
Yeah, I remember when Coach Peeler first got the job, he told me it was like winning the lottery without buying a ticket. And the reason why, it's maybe not because of the athleticism or the talent or the skill level is Fletcher. You got to love the way he takes charges. But he said it's because of the coachability of these young men here at Highland Park. They're so willing to be coached, willing to learn, willing to listen. They don't come in with their own predetermined thoughts about how things are going to go.
Five district titles in 6 years, a 5-time district coach of the year, including last year. 2008 finalist for TABC State Coach of the Year. 76-9 in district play as Stiganga misses the shot. You had 2 unbeaten district seasons and then 2 league seasons with just 1 loss. They got 2 wins against state number 1 ranked teams. As this time, Chase doesn't get the benefit of the call. Tried to draw the charge. He picks up a personal foul. 4th foul against Highland Park. 24-18, 4:47 left in the first half. Brian Sutcliffe with Miles Dunklin. Glad you're with us this morning as the Alt Schuler & Company Scots mob crew get the lane ready for this free throw attempt by the 6'3 senior Dorian Parks. Had 5 points in the first quarter. Frischilla back into the game along with Stiganga, Kreitz, Wilson, and Fletcher. Parks goes 2 for 2. He's got 7. The Scots lead is 4, 24-20, with just under 4:45 remaining in the first half. Frischilla tried to cross it over. Luckily, it was taken in by Stiganga. Left side 3 ball, Fletcher. Way too hefty. Sterling wildly into the lane. We apologize for some technical difficulties. If you hear a bit of a tone from your computer speaker, we're trying to get it taken care of. .419 remaining in the first half, 24-20 Highland Park. Clayton Murtha back in the game. Matt Wilson will get a breather. Matt Jones and Jeremy Mantilla check in for the Maroons of Austin High School, who went 19-13 last year. They finished 4-6 in District 15 5A. Yet another non-district matchup for the Scots against a 5A squad. Parks tried to kick it to the wing. Stiganga got a hand on it, but it comes to Jones. Jones traveled. Great defensive pressure there in the lane to force the turnover. Stiganga brings the ball into the front court. Drives it tough. Fouled. Offensive foul. Stiganga does not get the benefit of the doubt as Dorian Parks takes the charge. Should be the second against Jake Stiganga. Wenzel Sterling from the elbow, spins away, rises from 10 feet, rims the basket. And Chase Fletcher looked like he might have been fouled from behind. No call. Scots will install the offense. Stiganga running the point on the last couple of possessions. Hand off to Kreitz. Frischilla on the wing. Three and a half minutes remaining first half, 24-20 Highland Park. The Scots have scored only 4 points here in the second quarter after a 20-point blitz in the first. Kreitz backed off. Much more deliberate offense from Highland Park. Kreitz takes it in, floats the right-hander and leaves it short. Matt Jones comes away. It's a 3-on-2 for Austin High. Bounce pass to Wenzel Sterling. He lost it. Credit Jake Stiganga with getting back well on defense and not allowing an easy pass. As Coach Andy Dudney claps his hands as the Maroons have had the better of play the last few minutes. The Scots led by 9 points in the first quarter. As we're under 3 minutes left in the second. 24-20, Highland Park with a lead. Once again, we apologize for some of the technical difficulties we're experiencing right now. Just bear with us. Little right-hand floater from Fraschilla not there as he soared to the baseline. Here comes Dorian Parks. Ahead to Matt Jones. Jones. Great defense by Chase Fletcher in transition. But a good job by Isaiah Stewart to save it into Jones. His shot was blocked by Chase Fletcher. Kreitz drives baseline. He'll take it up with the right hand and one. Kreitz now with 5 points, and he'll go to the line to make it an old-fashioned three-point play. The Scots lead is 6, 26-20 with 2:29 left second quarter. That possession triggered by a big block by Chase Fletcher down low. Kreitz hits the freebie. He's got 6 points. 27-20. Scots lead it by 7. Will Miller back in the game, number 20. He's out there with number 25, Jake Stiganga, number 2, Chase Fletcher, number 24, Matt Kreitz, and number 3, Matt Fraschilla. 3 Matts on this team this season. Here's Jake Stiganga. He's got Will Miller with him. Kreitz out on the wing. Kreitz will get it, shoots the long 2. Shot might have been blocked by Dorian Parks. 2 minutes remaining, first half. Scotties by 7 as Mantilla shoots the 3, not there. Tap down to Fraschilla. Fraschilla goes to the left hand, gets away from some Isaiah Stewart pressure. And Stiganga will set up the offense. 1:45 left, first half. Scots by 7, 27-20. Out to the wing for Kreitz. Needing some help. Dorian Parks with the steal, and he'll have an easy layup. No, he won't. Left it short. I intentionally jinxed that. I want an assist or something on that play. 1:26 remaining in the first. There's a timeout on the floor. Scots lead it by 7, 27-20. They've absorbed some shots as a game Austin High crew has brought themselves back from a 9-point deficit, but the Scots have built it back out to 7. HP led 20-15 miles at the intermission between the first and second, as we'll take this opportunity to remind you that Plains Capital Bank is a proud sponsor of the Highland Park Scots Classic. For over 25 years, Plains Capital Bank has used their financial strength and stability to help individuals and businesses in our communities grow and prosper. Plains Capital Bank, the title sponsor of the 49th Annual HP Scott Classic.
It was a little helter-skelter there, back and forth, and I'm sure Coach Peeler wants to slow it down a little bit offensively. The Scots have been executing well on the offensive side, but you got to give credit to SFA. Everything has been contested and difficult.
Same 5 on the floor for the Scotties at the timeout as we're under 1:20 remaining. Matt Jones will come out and pressure for Fraschilla. Now it's Will Miller up top. Scots have struggled a bit on that high-low entry in this game.
Yeah, they've made everything real tough on them. You got to give a lot of credit to the defensive side of the ball. Nothing's coming easy right now for the Scots. And he stepped out of bounds. The same thing on the defensive side. The Scots have been very effective.
Nice work by Jake Stiganga there to block off the baseline, use it as an extra defender, and the baseline defender turned Jeremy Mantilla over. Under a minute left, Scots by 7, 27-20. A very low-scoring second quarter of play. 7-5. The Scots have the advantage as Fletcher can't hit it. He scored 12 points in the first quarter, but he has not dented again. And now he's hit with a foul. And that's the 17th foul against Highland Park, so it'll be 1-1 for Austin High. That's the Altshuler & Company Scots mop crew do their business as 6'4" senior Tim Wright, number 34, stands at the free throw line to shoot the 1-1. And he missed it. And the Maroons did not put a player in the lane on that play. I think you're concerned about a potential Scots basket in transition. They want to set their defense up. You've had two Austin players collide in the lane, both struggling a little bit. It was Tim Wright and Jeremy Mantilla colliding as they both moved through the lane.
Yeah, Tim Wright was holding his eye in his mouth and his neck. So hopefully he'll be okay. Hopefully he wasn't poked in the eye or anything like that. Yeah, a very, very sloppy offensive quarter right here, but as both players leave the floor, holding their eyes.
As we take a look at the upcoming schedule, we talked a little bit yesterday, Miles, about scheduling tough teams in non-district. And as you look at the schedule, the Scots have already played TCA Addison, who's a pretty solid big TAPS Division I team. You've played Midlothian, a 5A team. You played Lake Highlands, a 5A team. You've played Stephen F. Austin, a 5A team. The Scots will welcome the Jesuit Rangers on Monday. That's a 5A team. Then they'll take on Ennis next Saturday. Ennis is a 4A squad, but they'll then finish out their non-district play with Richardson, who's a 5A team, Flower Mound, who's a 5A team, McKinney, who's now a 5A team. They'll participate in the Burke-Burnett varsity tournament, and then they'll play the Plano Wildcats, who are a 5A team. So
yes, it's all about getting the team as ready as possible once they come up to district play. And certainly, the better your competition is during the non-district schedule, the more tested and ready you're going to be to perform when it counts the most in district and in the playoffs as well. And the Scots are going to hold for the last shot here, 18 seconds left.
There's Matt Fraschilla with 13.
They're trying to get Chase down low.
Left side three, maybe a long two by Kreitz. Rebound Miller, he'll turn. Looked like contact, no foul. And the Highland Park Scots will head to the halftime locker room in a game they need to win if they want a chance to defend their 2011 Scott Classic Championship. It's Highland Park 27, Austin High 20. Brian Sutcliffe here with Miles Dunklin, and Miles, a pretty solid first half for the Scots. They seem to have nicely carried over some of the momentum that they built up in the Lake Highlands game.
Yeah, especially in that first quarter, the execution was definitely there. In the second, I think he really had to like the defense all the way through the half. That's 2 consecutive halves, so they've held the other team to 20 points or less. Yesterday in the first half, only 11. An outstanding defensive performance. That's been the one constant so far through this whole season. We really haven't seen a lapse on the defensive side of the ball yet, and the Scots, I think, ultimately have to be happy with the 7-point lead, considering how kind of wild that second quarter was.
Lots of points in the first as the Scots led after one, 20-15. Not so much in the second, but HP, after a 7-5 edge in the second quarter, head to the halftime locker room, leading the Austin High Maroons 27-20. We'll come back in just a few minutes with the second half of play. You're watching Highland Park Scots varsity basketball.
This presentation is brought to you by HPTV. If you or someone you know would like to sponsor this unique TV station, please email Mrs. Kelly Snowder at snowdeck@hpasd.org. And from all of us here at HPTV, we thank you for watching.
To the Highlander Fieldhouse, where at halftime the Highland Park Scots lead the third and final preliminary round game of this 49th annual HP Scott Classic, 27-20. I'm Brian Sutcliffe along with Miles Dunklin. And Miles, we got a pretty good game here. You know, it looked like the Scots were thinking about maybe running away with it early on, but as we would expect from a Andy Dudney coach team here from Austin High, the Maroons gave the Scots quite a game in the second quarter, but HP ended the first half on a bit of an uptick.
Yeah, it was definitely a defensive second quarter. The first quarter was a lot more about offensive execution. That second quarter, a lot more about defensive execution. We'll see what happened with that injury situation with those couple of SFA players. Hopefully they're all right as they're coming out of the locker room right now. But definitely a very physical defensive second quarter there.
Chase Fletcher, the leading scorer in the game, he had 12 all in the first quarter. Chase did not score in the second. He got a bit of rest there in the second 8 minutes.
And he also got banged around quite a bit while he was out there.
Matt Fraschilla had 3 in the first half. Mitchell Kaufman with his first varsity point. Matthew Kreitz with 6. Ben Livingston had 3. Clayton Murtha with 3. For Andy Dudney's Maroons, Jeremy Mantilla hit a couple of triples. He had 8 first half points. Dorian Parks with 7 of his own. Lado Dogale had 3.
Yeah, I would expect to see this second half a little more crisp than that first half, considering these SFA guys, they didn't get back to their hotel until 11 o'clock, had to leave at 7 a.m. So I think everybody now they're a little more into the game here. It should be a little better of a second half.
It's number 3, Matt Fraschilla. Number 25, Jake Stiganga. Number 50, Clayton Murtha. Number 24, Matt Kreitz. And number 2, Chase Fletcher on the floor to start things out here in the third for David Peeler's Highland Park Scots. Coach Peeler looking for a victory in his 200th game as HP coach. Congratulations to Coach Peeler for what has been an amazing tenure. You've had multiple trips to the regional tournament. You had a regional final appearance as the shot was missed by Kendrick Price. HP was about 4 points away a few years ago from making a trip to the state tournament.
And they lost to a team that ended up having their title taken away. So in a way, they in spirit, they made it there. Unfortunately, no one wins when that kind of situation ends up coming down, but that's beside the point. Great
Nice
pass inside to Murtha.
29-20, the Scots have pushed their lead back to a game-high 9.
Yeah, and this kind of defensive struggle, 9 points is a pretty significant lead. That the Scots continue to be solid on the defensive end. They had a couple lapses out of that 2-3 look, which they're back in right now with some open perimeter shooting for SFA. But other than that, they've been very solid, especially on the inside.
We stuck our heads into the other game. It's currently being played between Ennis and Midlothian. It was Midlothian by 11 at halftime, 24-13. If the results of these first 2 games hold, then you could end up with a 3-way tie, as 3 teams would be at 2-1 and would be battling for 2 of the spots in the championship game. We're not quite sure how that tiebreaker would work out yet. But as much as the teams would like to win the tournament, it's also about getting experience against some different teams. Little jump hook for Chase Fletcher.
Yeah, gain a little confidence for your ball club, no doubt about it. Chase missing a little turnaround right there, but you gotta love that they feel like they can just throw the ball down to him on the block and get some offense.
Scots by 9. Dorian Parks tees up the 3 ball, too hefty. Comes down to Matt Kreitz, who's having another great game. Just his 4th varsity game. It was averaging 6.7 per game in the first 3 and had 6 in the first half today.
Yeah, he looks very comfortable out there. What
That's
a move by Fletcher,
move
not
by
able
Fletcher.
to get it to fall.
Good bounce pass from Jones to Lado Dugale.
Yeah, they just weren't able to recover. They were down a man as Fletcher was still trying to recover. And Peeler will take time.
With 5:15 left in the third, Scots lead by 7, 29-22. In the third and final preliminary round game, the Scots were beaten by 3, 52-49 against Midlothian on Thursday. They followed that up with, at the time, their best performance of the year against Lake Highlands, 54-42, and the Scotties still seem to be getting their feet underneath them as they seem to be improving by the game. They're leading a pretty solid Austin squad by 7, 29-22 here in the third quarter.
All right, and the thought coming into this one is this is their best competition they've played yet this year. I think they look very solid. I'll say it again, on the defensive end, they've been good. They did allow a layup, and that last time they were playing one man down. But, yeah, yesterday, 54-42 doesn't look like a blowout, but it really was a blowout. They had a 25-point lead in the first half alone. A really crisp offensive performance yesterday from the Scotties. Now, I think that kind of positive momentum as they play day after day here will roll over. The same group that started the game here for the Scots to start the third quarter. Fletcher, Kreitz, Fraschilla, Stiganga, and Murtha.
Fraschilla will bring it into the front court as we roll toward 5 minutes remaining in the third. Scots with a 7-point lead. They led 20-15 after 1. Led 27-20 at halftime. There's Chase getting it down low. Can't hit it, but Murtha hits on the putback on the offensive board.
Yeah, Chase is pleading for a foul call. He's been banged around quite a bit. It was all about how deep a positioning he was able to get, and Murtha was able to clean up the board. Really liked his aggressiveness on the offensive rebounds.
Murtha's season high last year was 12. He matched that against Lake Highlands. That's a pretty move by Cole Carper.
That was a miscommunication defensively. They did not mean to let him catch the ball down that deep. And an offensive foul on Murtha.
So the Scots leading by 7, 31-24. The junior Murtha had 12 against Lake Highlands yesterday and then had 8 against Midlothian, scoring 10 points per game in his last 2. He's got 7 midway through the third quarter this morning. Blake Maschek, number 10, a 6-foot senior, is in the game for the first time. Sterling looked like he had a good look at a baseline jumper, but he gives it up.
Pretty good defensive possession so far for the Scots, and as I say that, they leave a shooter wide open. They got lucky that time.
Maschek missed the shot. Fraschilla with a pretty bounce pass to Murtha, but like the pass might have been a little too low for him to handle.
And just a little bit too aggressive that time. Matt sometimes just gets a little bit ahead of himself. He's such a creative and gifted playmaker. Not all the time is everybody right on that same page with him.
Scots by 7, 31-24. Maschek tries it again. This time he hits.
Yeah, nice corner pocket three right there, and the lead has been cut to 4.
31-27, Scots with a lead.
Chase's got to watch that screen. He's moving a little bit.
Fraschilla hits that little soaring baseline jumper.
I think that's a really good sign to see Matt getting going with his offense. That's really the one thing that he lacks in his game is maybe scoring. He doesn't look for his shot very often. But if he was able to add that scoring dimension to his game, he'd be a much more complete player. He's already got the assists and the defense and everything he adds in transition.
Chase Fletcher is all over the place.
That's got to be a
no
charge.
Call.
Ever since the first 5 minutes, they have really swallowed the whistles, and that had to be a charge.
Stagango kick it out to Matt. Fraschilla on the wing. Wilson was given lots of space on the outside. Fraschilla moves to the baseline, finds Matt Wilson cutting to the basket, went to the right hand, it might have been blocked. Austin High trailing by 4. Missed the shot. Livingston fights for the ball. Chase Fletcher comes away with it, and he's not happy. Finally,
the
officials have to make a call there. They're going to lose control of the game as we're starting to get very physical.
It was getting physical in the second quarter. They blew the whistles quite a bit in the first quarter and kind of set a tone, and from that point on, they really have swallowed the whistles, and it's gotten a little bit out of control.
Stagango leaves the game. Will Miller back in, along with Ben Livingston, Mitchell Kaufman in as well. So it's Fraschilla, Wilson, Miller, Kaufman, and Livingston on the floor for the Scots, who lead with 2 minutes left in the third, 33-29.
Yeah, I'm curious as to where the offense is going to come from with this group. I would imagine it would be Miller. Of course, they're going to run offense and hopefully just get an open shot. But normally when that kind of thing doesn't work it out, normally you're able to give it to number 2 down low. He's out of the game right now.
Fraschilla moves right. Traverses the lane, and now he'll try to get something going from the right wing. He'll step in, shoot from 15. It was halfway down and rim the basket. Dorian Parks.
I don't mind the shot there at all because there really wasn't much doing on that possession. Eventually, somebody's got to take a shot.
Like Matt Fraschilla thought he was in position to take a charge, but he was able to force the turnover just the same. 1:19 left. The Scots led at 27-20 at halftime. They've been outscored 9-6 here in the third.
A little pressure from number 1. That's Isaiah Stewart, and that's something that Matt welcomes.
Scots have been a bit of a two-half team this season. They're allowing 29 points per game in the second half. They're outscoring their opponents in the first half by 11, but then being outscored by 7 in the second half. Great look to Miller. Miller can't hit it from down low.
I thought that was a foul as well. Miller was fouled.
David Peeler a bit incredulous on the Scots bench. The ball is thrown off the foot, and neither coach is very happy with this officiating crew right now.
Well, they just simply haven't made many calls, period. It's been very physical. Only 2 total fouls in this period. Scots are probably going to hold for the last shot here with 30 seconds left.
Livingston, little double pump, drew the contact by Cole Carper, and he earns a trip to the free throw line. Scots looking for points, leading by 4, 33-29. We'll remind you that Plains Capital Bank is a proud sponsor of the Highland Park Scots Classic. For over 25 years, Plains Capital Bank has used their financial strength and stability to help individuals and businesses in our communities grow and prosper. Plains Capital Bank, the title sponsor of the 49th annual HP Scott Classic. Livingston with his 4th point. This one at the free throw line. Scott's lead is 5, 34-29, a very rapidly moving third quarter. Misses the second. Dorian Parks with a board. Parks into the lane. He draws contact.
Now that was a nice, aggressive, fast break by Dorian Parks, able to get the rebound and just push it all by himself.
Will Miller just picked up his 2nd foul, just the 2nd team foul against Highland Park. Parks with his 8th point. Can't hit the second. Rebound, Matt Wilson. Livingston up ahead to Miller. Miller gets the defenders in the air on the back. Would have been interesting if they'd given him continuation there, but he didn't make the shot.
Yeah, the Scots were going to be happy to hold for 1 shot. But if you're able to get on the fast break like that.
They did not call that a shooting foul.
They did not call it a shooting foul.
Here's Miller off the baseline inbound. Missed the shot.
I think Peeler would have much rather than see them run offense.
13 seconds. Stewart against Livingston. Great defense by Ben Livingston. Mitchell Kaufman clears the board. Here comes Jake Steganga with 7 seconds left. Steganga, he has his shot blocked. It was Dorian Parks that got it. Up ahead to Stewart. Stewart, he'll get it off. The shot is no good. The Scots led by 7 at halftime. They'll go to the 4th, leading the Austin High Runnin' Maroons 34-30 in the final preliminary game for the Scots and Maroons in this, the 49th annual HP Scott Classic, sponsored by Plains Capital Bank. I'm Brian Sutcliffe with Miles Dunklin. Bright and early this morning.
Yeah, I told you that second quarter was all about defense. That third quarter was a lot about poor shot selection from both teams, especially at the end of the period.
The Scots scored 20 points in the first quarter. They've scored 14 since. Stephen F. Austin scored 15 points in the first quarter. They've scored 15 since the opening frame. So it looked like we might be heading for a game in the 70s or 80s for both squads, and now both teams struggling to maybe get to 50.
Yeah, you think, I think at this point, you told Coach Peeler, hey, you can get 42 points in this one. I think he'll take it with the way his defense is playing. But you'd certainly like to see a little bit better shot selection on the offensive end, a couple rush shots on those last few possessions where really they didn't have any business taking a shot when they could have run out the clock to take the last shot of the quarter, and gave SFA a couple of prime opportunities to get back within a 1-possession game.
Number 20, Will Miller. Number 25, Jake Steganga. Number 3, Matt Fraschilla. Number 4, Mitchell Kaufman. And number 32, Matt Wilson on the floor for the Scots as Chase Fletcher remains on the bench.
It'll be interesting to see how long Peeler keeps Chase Fletcher over on the bench. And a turnover by the Scots. Certainly you don't like bad shots, but you'd like a bad shot a lot more than you'd like a turnover. A 2-3 zone look here for the Scotties.
There's Kendrick Price, dumps it off to Dogale. A nice little turnaround, finds the bottom.
It was a mismatch with Steganga down low that time.
2-point game, and we'll see some pressure here from the Runnin' Maroons on defense. Austin thought they'd forced a backcourt violation. Scott's lead is 2. They've led by 9 a couple of times in this game. Pretty dish down to Matt Wilson. He missed after getting a nice feed from Mitchell Kaufman. So the Maroons have trailed by 9. Can tie or take the lead on this possession?
Yeah, and Coach Peeler's got
Sterling for 3, missed it. Dorian Parks with the rebound. The Scots were very good on the glass in the first half, but Austin Highs improved their performance here in the second, as we'll say hello again to Matt Kreitz, Clayton Murtha, and Chase Fletcher.
Right, exactly. They're going to get Murtha and Fletcher back in there not only for an offensive presence, but the rebounding has been not quite as sharp in the second half. I would imagine those two guys are going to be in there the rest of the way.
Wenzel Sterling on the wing. Crossover, Jake Stiganga. Stiganga fouled him. HP was wanting a call as Sterling used that arm to create space. That wasn't called, but Stiganga's body contact was. So Wenzel Sterling, a 6'2 junior, will go to the line with a chance to tie the game.
And you can say what you want about the officials at this point, but they lost control in the second quarter.
Just the first point of the game for Wenzel Sterling.
And it's a tie ball game.
All even at 34. Stephen F. Austin scored 57 against Highland Park in their matchup last year. 35 of those 57 points are gone. Chris Moore had 20 in that game, and Patrick Strake had 14. That's 34, so 34 points gone. And both teams have 34 points in this one.
You really got to give SFA a lot of credit for the way they played defensively. The Scots certainly haven't been as good on their execution on the offensive side, but you give a lot of credit to SFA.
Great play by Jake
Stiganga.
That looked like a sure turnover. He threw it off Lado Dugale.
Yeah, they got bailed out right there.
6:36 left. HP has led by 9 twice in this game, but they're now tied at 34 after scoring 20 points in the first quarter. Stiganga into the lane, will kick it out to Kreitz.
You're looking for offense. That's a good place to go down low to the block, and Murtha puts it in.
Murtha with his first points in the second half. He's got 9. The Scots back up by 2, 36-34, 6:15 left.
Yeah, that size is just something that SFA is having an impossible time contending with.
Dorian Parks with a pretty move. Throws it up off the glass. He's got 10. He's the first Maroon player into double figures. We're tied at 36. There's a steal. Parks will take it in. And Austin High has their first lead of the game. Parks has 12, and the Scots trail at 38-36. Brian Sutcliffe, Miles Dunklin here, as the Scots showed a lot more energy in the first half, Miles, than we've seen here at times in the second.
Yeah, they look a little bit lethargic. And I'd be interested to see how much. I'd like to see Chase Fletcher get a couple more looks here late in this game, because he was so effective in that first quarter. And it's pretty much disappeared since then. Like I said, the officials kind of let the game get out of hand, out of control. And you got to hand it to SFA. They've been very physical, very aggressive, and they've taken the lead.
Coach David Peeler, in his 200th game as Highland Park Scots head coach, have seen his Scots lose a 9-point lead that they held on 2 separate occasions. They led by 5 after 1. They led by 7 at halftime and led by 4 heading into the fourth. But they've been outscored 8-2 in the first 2 minutes and 8 seconds of the fourth.
They just have not been able to get their offense going. I think it's going to be a lot of Chase Fletcher down the stretch. He's what got them that early lead. And he is by far and away their best offensive force. We've seen a lot shorter of a bench today for Coach Peeler.
He's starting 5 back on the floor. It's Clayton Murtha, Matt Fraschilla, Matt Kreitz, Chase Fletcher, and Jake Stiganga. As Fraschilla's being harassed by double-team pressure all the way
you can see how
into the front court.
He is handling pressure.
Now Austin falls back into a traditional defensive set. Pump it down to the left block for Chase. Chase takes it in. Can't hit the shot. Knocked out of bounds by Austin. Scott's lucky to have another chance. That was a good look for Fletcher.
Yeah, he's showing a little frustration after he missed that one, but that's still really good offensive possession to be able to throw it down to the big man. He had a nice look. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to work it to Fletcher on the block.
Down to the baseline for Fletcher, who wanted the ball. They're double teaming Chase as soon as he gets the rock. Nice pass. Murtha to Fletcher. Very patient offensive possession. Ties the game for the Scots.
Yeah, they were just trying to work it down to Chase that whole time. The offense is going to run through him. He's so versatile, can do so many things to hurt you. You got to close out right there. That's a big miss as that one rattled out.
Kendrick Price missed it. Those were Chase Fletcher's first points since the first quarter, where he had 12. Here's Fraschilla. He'll shoot the runner. It's not there. He gets his own rebound and puts it in.
Great job by Matt. And what he did, he realized that when they broke their press, they had a numbers advantage going down. So wanted to get up the quick shot. Wasn't able to nail the first one, but bagged his own groceries. Got the second one. That's an old Neil Amy right there, Brian.
Scots lead at 40-38. They fell behind him here in the fourth for the first time, and Wenzel Sterling ties the game again. Sterling has all 4 of his points in the fourth quarter, and with 4:14 left, we're even at 40. Austin High with a win would clinch a place in the championship game tonight. The Scots would hope to do so. They need a little bit of help, but would certainly remain in the mix, as TCA and Lake Highlands will battle right after this one. TCA still unbeaten. Lake Highlands is at 0-2, so if Austin and TCA both win, you would have an Austin High TCA championship game. The Scots need a win to try to earn a chance to defend their tournament championship, which they won in the final by beating these Austin High Maroons.
Well, I think, like I said, you got to give credit to Austin High. They played one heck of a game today. But I feel like the Scots, if they execute their style of play down the stretch here and get Fletcher the ball on offense, the big man should be able to pave the way to a victory. But it should be an interesting finish here with only 4 minutes left in the tie game.
All tied at 40. Stiganga finds Fletcher. Scots need to get it into the front court quickly. Now Fletcher will battle with Matt Jones. Kreitz into the lane. He'll rise from 8 feet and hit.
Yeah, both the defenders were looking at Fletcher that time, and Kreitz with an excellent job running that 2-man game and just rise up and finish.
HP by 2, 42-40 with 3:51 left in the fourth. We'll remind you one more time that Plains Capital Bank is a proud sponsor of Highland Park Scots Classic. For over 25 years, Plains Capital Bank has used their financial strength and stability to help individuals and businesses in our communities grow and prosper. Plains Capital Bank, the title sponsor of the 49th annual HP Scott Classic. I'm Brian Sutcliffe with Miles Dunklin, and in a very evenly played game for the most part. The Scots looked real good in the first quarter, and since then it's been a very back-and-forth affair as slowly chipping away have come the Austin High Maroons. They took a lead here in the fourth quarter, but the Scots have been able to respond to go back up by 2.
And the Scots have played solid defensively the whole game, and that's even though they've had some struggles on offense, the defense has kept them in it. And that's the nice thing about defense. It never really goes on a slump. Whether the offense has been poor or not, they're right back in this thing with a chance to win here in the last 3 minutes. It's all about an execution down the stretch, though.
Allowing only 47 points per game, but 29 of those 47 have come in the second half. Scotties are allowing just 18 points per game in the first half.
And once again, the Scots coming out in a 2-3.
Scots are riding their horses. You got your starting 5 out there once again. Out to Kendrick Price. Price takes it up among the trees. His shot was not blocked, but certainly altered by the long wingspan of Clayton Murtha down low.
Couple of fouls, in my opinion. So the home fans thinking the same thing, but the officials really just swallowing their whistles.
Wenzel Sterling probably saved a chippy right there as he knocked it away from Clayton Murtha after Matt Fraschilla threaded the needle perfectly on the high-low entry.
Yeah, they want to score through their big men in the paint. That's the strength of this team. They do have some shooting, but really it's all about playing inside out, working through Murtha and Fletcher.
Fraschilla frees himself up off the screen on the inbound. And there's a foul against Kendrick Price. Just the 4th team foul. against Austin High, 3 against Highland Park. 3:13 left in regulation. The Scots lead the Austin High Running Maroons 42-40. Both teams need a win to stay in contention for the tournament championship. Austin High would clinch a spot in the final with a win. The Scots would still be in the running. Would be unknown at the end of this game if HP would earn one of those spots.
This is where the Scots just want to grind some offense. And the officials now calling the cheap ones like they weren't before. And if you're SFA, you're actually worried about a bonus situation here pretty soon, as the Scots could get into the 1-1.
That's the 5th team foul. Under 3 minutes remaining. Scots with the ball and a 2-point lead. Kreitz will take it, float the right-hander again and hit. Kreitz into double figures.
He has really been one of the unsung heroes early on this season. You're looking for somebody to give you some offense, and Kreitz is willing to do it. Great
Sterling's shot was
Murtha.
missed. Chase Fletcher with a rebound. He throws it to Jake Stiganga. Tried to save it in, and HP turns it over.
And that's a critical turnover. At that point, Chase thought he was fouled. But the ball is the possession of the ball is so critical at this point in the game with only 2.5 minutes left, a 4-point lead. No shot clock in the high school game, of course.
Blake Parks just sort of throws it up wildly and hits, or Dorian Parks, excuse me. He's got 14 points. That's a very lucky roll to Clayton Murtha, as the Scots with a 2-point lead were very close to turning the ball over. Stiganga will take it all the way up with a right hand. Dies off the rim. Clayton Murtha fights with Matt Jones, and Jones comes away with it with a chance to tie or take the lead. Scots by 2. 2:03 left. Fraschilla cuts off the baseline. Isaiah Stewart. Get it over to Kendrick Price. 1:55 left. Scots 44-42. Parks again takes it off the glass. He can't hit it. Shot is blocked by Fletcher. Comes out. Mass check. The shot was halfway down and rolled out.
It went right to Mass check that time off the rejection by Fletcher. A huge defensive stop for the Scotties. And they just need to run as much clock as possible. If you get a good shot, you'll take it, but you're happy just grinding out some offense right here and even holding the ball for the next minute and a half. You'll be happy to do it.
Kreitz will pump it into Murtha. 1:23 left. Scots nursing a 2-point lead, 44-20. They led by 9 twice in this game.
Now, this is the high school game, whether you like it or not. There's no shot clock, and they could spend the next minute and 10 seconds just holding the ball, and if SFA can't get it from them, that's exactly what they're going to do. This is one of the strengths of this team is ball handling.
Here's Murtha. Murtha over to Fraschilla. The Scots have run over 30 seconds off the clock.
And this is something they work on in practice all the time, being able to hold the ball in this kind of situation. SFA eventually is going to have to foul him here.
They throw it over to Murtha. Scots still have the ball with 42 seconds left.
And what they do in practice, they put 7 guys on defense.
And Jake Stiganga, as the Scots are playing with fire, and finally Jake Stiganga is fouled after they run over a minute off the clock.
Tell you what, that's a really wise play from Matt. He was double-teamed. He didn't have anywhere to go. He was trapped. Instead of throwing the ball down the mid-court line with a chance with SFA to go the other way, he just threw it into the front court and knew that there was likely going to be a white shirt there or it was going to be out of bounds underneath the basket. A very savvy play, and the Scots end up with the ball.
That's the 6th team foul against Austin, so
One
HP
more,
will
they'll
shoot the
free
bonus
throws.
the rest of the way. Not this time, as Murtha scores off the beautiful pass on the baseline from Fraschilla. Scots lead it by 4, 46-42, 32.8 left.
Yeah, that was a beautiful execution of bleeding out the clock. Like I said, what they do in practice, they put 7 guys on defense, 5 guys on offense, and say, hey, keep it from the defense. And right there, they did a beautiful job executing that, and that inbounds play has worked like a charm and got Murtha wide open underneath, and now it's a 2-score game.
Couldn't have done more damage in
Absolutely
any way
not.
as you ran over a minute off the clock and you score to make it a 4-point advantage. So Austin High will have the ball with just under 33 seconds remaining, trailing the Highland Park Scots by 4, 46-42.
Yeah, I'd imagine we'd see the Scots come out in a man-to-man look here to try and negate a 3-point shot.
The Scots with no more timeouts. Austin High has 2 remaining. Brian Sutcliffe, Miles Dunklin, glad you've gotten up early with us. The Scotties will play again later this afternoon. The question is when. They'll either play at 2 o'clock in the third place game or at 6:30 in the championship.
I think the story in this one, Brian, is really the two big guys, Fletcher and Murtha. Their insertion of the game coincided with an uptick for the Scots, and they also played very well in that first quarter when they were both in the ball game together. And that two-headed monster has just been something that SFA hadn't had an answer for.
Under 30 seconds remaining. Here comes Dorian Parks. Down to the baseline for Stewart.
They're looking
Kick it
for
out to
a quick
Maschek. He nearly hit last time down the floor. He missed it. Clayton Murtha fights for the rebound, and the Scots will shoot free throws.
Well, he called it a jump ball. However, it is possession to Highland Park.
It should be free throws. It's a loose ball foul.
Okay, I thought it was a jump ball. Regardless, a huge defensive board there by Murtha. Just barely able to clear that one.
It's
and
a two-possession game, and the best Murtha could do is keep it a two-possession game, but would force Austin to need a pair of threes. Leaves it short. Less than 20 seconds left. 4-point game. Here's Jones. Thought about the three. It's stolen by Stiganga. Stiganga's fouled, and that might do it.
Yeah, he was looking for the trailer of the three-pointer, and the trailer came through and just knocked the ball away. It wasn't stolen. It was just deflected by his own man. A bad break for the running Maroons, and this one looks like it's going to go the Scots' way. This is pretty much how every game finished out last year, Brian. Coach Beeler and Coach Snoud they're pretty used to seeing their guys in close games close it out. Another missed free throw, though.
Less than 10 seconds left. Scots by 4. It's a two-possession game. Stewart will kick it out to Jones. Got to hit this to have any chance. High rebound, tapped up. Chase Fletcher has it, and that's going to do it. The Highland Park Scots earned their second tournament win with a 46-42 win over the Austin High Running Maroons. The Scots move to 3-1 on the season. They've won their last two. For Andy Dudney's Running Maroons, they fall to 2-2. So the Scots finished 2-1 in pool play. The Maroons finished 2-1 in pool play. And if the result from halftime holds, it looked like Midlothian was on their way to finishing 2-1 in pool play. So the TCA Addison Trojans will now battle the Lake Highlands Wildcats. A win by TCA would clinch a spot in the championship by the Trojans. If they fall, you could end up with a lot of teams at 2-1, and then a variety of crazy tie-break scenarios would then ensue, and who knows what ends up from there. But the Scots knew they needed to win to have any chance to defend their tournament championship, and they did just that, defeating the Running Maroons of Austin High 46-42. The leading scorer for Highland Park was Chase Fletcher. He had 14 points, had a big 2
12
in the fourth quarter. He had 12 in the first quarter. It looked like Chase may be heading to a 30 or 40-point game, but he made a significant impact in many ways in this one. Took a couple of charges, big defensive presence, had a couple of blocks, had some nice assists as well. So a very complete game for Chase Fletcher, who ends with 14 points. Matt Frischilla, great passing, chipped in 7 points as well.
How about Kreitz?
Matthew Kreitz with 10 points. So in his last 3 games, he's averaging 10 points per game. Very good for the first-time varsity player. The 6'3 junior Matthew Kreitz had 10. Ben Livingston had 4, including a big three-pointer in the second quarter. And then Clayton Murtha, another double-figure effort. He had 11 points.
I think the story of this game certainly has to be the big guys. I also feel like for Schilla and Stiganga, that's definitely one of the strengths of this team is their backcourt, their ability to handle the ball and get these guys into their half-court sets on offense. A big part of SFA's strategy in that game was pressuring them in the backcourt. They only had a handful of turnovers, and they did a really good job bringing it in the front court. And then, like I said, Kreitz with some much-needed offensive punch. This group is a very balanced group. They have a lot of talent, and when they run their offense, they can get open shots. But sometimes you're just not getting open looks through your offensive sets, and you need a guy. Every once in a while, the guys are kind of looking around to each other. All right, who's gonna create something offensively? And Kreitz was able to do that in some clutch situations. And then, of course, the two big guys. The bigs were huge today, Murtha and Fletcher. They've been big all season. That'll be a trend as we continue down the stretch.
The Scots were pushed down the stretch. They led by 9 a couple of times, only to watch Austin High grab a couple of leads in the fourth quarter, but HP able to make some plays and come away with the 46-42 win. We'd like to thank the parents of the Highland Park Scots varsity basketball team for making this broadcast possible. Miles Dunklin, another good one. We hate to say we'll see you when we see you, but at this point we don't know against who or when the Scots will be playing this afternoon, but we hope you will join us. Good job, brother. We'll do this again later today.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. We'll see you this afternoon. Until next time, I'm Brian Sutcliffe. So long, everybody.
This presentation is brought to you by HPTV. If you or someone you know would like to sponsor this unique TV station, please email Mrs. Kelly Snowder at snowdeck@hpasd.org. And from all of us here at HPTV, we thank you for watching.